Papillion, Des Moines, and across the country via the Schrock desk. This is Compute This.
Good morning, folks. Welcome on into Compute This. My name is Thor Schrock. I am the owner of the Schrock Innovations Computer Company, where we fix computers, we build software, we help businesses, we build websites, we do data recovery, we sell new computers. If it touches technology in just about any way, we touch it over at Schrock Innovations. Number to join us on the program this morning on the show is 888-250-2091. 888-250-2091. Ask a question, make a comment, just be a part of the program because I can easily talk the whole hour, guys. I mean, no one in my life has ever told me that, I don't talk enough. So I can fill the hour, but the callers make the show. The people making the contributions to the program and asking the basic questions that everybody wants to know the answer to. I've been doing this for over 20 years, guys. So there is no question I haven't heard. The questions are the same. They change. The circumstances change a little bit. We have a question coming up later in the program today about why a woman sent me an email asking why her computer won't do the things that it used to do. And she's a very down-to-earth, very reasonable woman, very basic questions that, I feel like we've covered it like a million times on the program, but, maybe you haven't heard it because you're new to the show, or maybe, it's just one of those things where you haven't heard it specifically in the way that it applies to your specific situation. So we're going to cover that and do that on the program here today. 888-250-2091 is the number I'd like you to use to join us on the program today. Now, we do have 4 locations when your computer is having a tough time. The reason I'm going to bring these up right now, this is the beginning, I should say, of what is typically a slower season in the IT industry as a whole. Dell sells fewer computers. Best Buy has, well, the ones that are still open, has less business. And we typically see fewer computers coming on our bench. Why is that? Well, people have things to do this month. There's graduations, there's, ceremonies, there's vacations, there's all kinds of stuff happening. And as a result, people either aren't in front of their computers breaking them, or number 2, if they are broken, they've got more important things going on that they're not going to deal with it till they get back or till things calm down a little bit. So typically, starting right about now through, I would say, mid-July-ish, somewhere early July, we typically see a slightly slower period of time. Now, what does that mean for you? If you have a prepaid maintenance certificate and you're waiting for the perfect time to use it, this is that window. This is that time that you can come in, get that maintenance checkup completed, get your computer back very quickly. The guys really appreciate it because, they get really tired of cleaning, this time of year, because this is when we do all of our internal maintenance. We do all of our internal cleaning. If there's any construction projects or modifications we want to do, we get those done. We're wrapping the vehicles. We're looking on upgrading signage, all those things that you don't have time to think about or do when everything is very busy, like during a big computer sale or during a big maintenance sale or something like that, we do during this time of year. So if you have a computer that's having an issue, but you need it back quickly, the first location, Schrock Innovations, the OG Schrock in Lincoln, just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road in Lincoln, Nebraska. In Omaha, 168th and Burke Street, just across the street from the Village Point Mall, where the rent is slightly cheaper for now. Of course, there is the Papillion Schrock Innovations, 84th and Highway 370, and the newest Schrock, it used to be called Baby Schrock. I don't know if we can still call it Baby Schrock. Like that kid's song, Baby Shark. I don't know that we can call it Baby Schrock anymore. It's kind of like Toddler Schrock now, but it is over there in West Des Moines, Iowa, 9500 University Avenue. Also want to welcome our newest employee to the Des Moines team. Cassidy will be joining us there in the front desk position. We're eager to have her get in there and get her trained up and make her part of the team in Des Moines. 888-250-2091. All right, so guys, last week, if you missed the program, the show is available on our website at SchrockInnovations.com. The audio is there. It's on all your favorite podcasting services as well. Also, you can watch the show right now live at Facebook.com/SchrockInnovations. That's Facebook.com/SchrockInnovations. I don't know why. So people like to watch it. It's it's kind of neat because you can communicate with the other people that are watching, so you can ask questions and make comments and make observations and have other people like validate your comments and observations. It's kind of cool. We call it Schrockville. Well, they call it Schrockville, and now it's stuck. So it's one of those things that just kind of happened. But if you want to join us at Schrockville, it's facebook.com/Schrock Innovations. So last week on the program, we talked about Aspen Dental getting hit with a cyber incident, which it's a ransomware attack. So they got hit with probably a ransomware attack. We talked about Microsoft killing off feature upgrades for Windows 10. Now, for some of you, this was great news. This means if you have Windows 10, you don't have to get a safe upgrade ever again, because there isn't going to be any more upgrades for your Windows 10. There will be patches, security patches, but you will get no new features. You will get any new stuff was all going to go to Windows 11. We're going to talk about that a little bit later in the program here. We also talked about Netflix and how it was they lost over 1 million subscribers in Europe when they started enforcing their anti-password sharing protocols in Europe in the test market they were using. They lost 1 million subscribers, but when you dug into the numbers, what they're calling a subscriber is a user. So in other words, if you have an account and grandma has an account under the same Netflix login, that's 2 users. So when you enforce a password sharing restriction, that means you can only use it within your household, so you can't share with grandma who doesn't live with you anymore. Well, they lost a user. Grandma lost her account. And grandma's not going to subscribe, so, there you go. You lost a user. So really, it was about 300,000 accounts that canceled, but there was 700,000 users, basically, that were sharing passwords that should be paying Netflix, but were not paying Netflix. And when they killed their accounts, they're just not paying Netflix. And so there's some debate as to whether or not this was good or bad for Netflix, because what does it cost Netflix to deliver content compared to how much they get from each subscriber? So is it really, this is 700,000 people that are not making recommendations. They're not mining data from them, from their observations. Every time you click the thumbs up or whatever, or however long you watch an episode, all that information, all of it goes back to Netflix, and it's aggregated in their data models. Well, now they don't have 700,000 people's worth of data anymore. So did they actually do themselves a favor here or not? The jury's still out on that one. So we'll follow up on that when we hear their next earnings report coming up in a few months here. 888-250-2091. Coming up on the program today for you, well, I wanted to tell you a little bit about a new chat AI thing that's out there. I know. It's like, you're like, Thor, enough with the chat AI things. A lot of people feel the same way, but right now it is kind of earnings season for a lot of companies. So pretty much all you have to do in your earnings call is like, we lost $1 bajillion, but we're using AI to fix that. And your stock goes up because you said AI. And they measure like the number of times you use the word AI in your earnings report, your earnings call. And if you use it enough times, your stock goes up. It's pretty crazy, right? So AI is powerful. We just talked last week about IBM announcing that they were going to replace something like 30% of their workforce with AI. Any job that could be done by AI, they were going to get rid of the person and have AI do it. The problem that ChatGPT has always had, though, is it can't do anything recent. It's all limited to stuff that it knew in 2021 or further back, and there was a whole list of prohibited topics about it. So there's a new way to use ChatGPT through Bing now. So we're going to compare the two of them. I know it sounds a little drab, but it's kind of cool because this is the first time you're able to have a search engine where you don't have to do any special logins or anything. You can just go to the search engine, you can type in a question, and it will give you back an answer through chat. So it doesn't give you a list of websites to look at. And the most important thing here, the Bing AI actually footnotes where it gets its information. So if you think it's biased in some way, you can go back and look at, did you go to the Anti-Defamation League for your data on this? Well, did you go to, Media Matters for your data on this? Well, then you'll know it's biased, and you can respond accordingly from there. Also, coming up, the safest way to use public Wi-Fi. This is something that comes up all the time. People always have questions about this right before they travel, and a lot of you are getting ready to travel. So how do you safely use a free public Wi-Fi, like a hotel or a coffee shop? What's the best way to do that? We're going to tell you coming up on the program. And also, why you really should make the move to Windows 11 if you can. And I've got a story. I got an email, as I mentioned, from a customer, a longtime customer, who literally, she says, I'm not one of those people who wants the best of everything, but let me give you this long, long, long list of things that no longer work on my computer that used to work. Can you tell me what we need to do to fix them? And so we're going to go through some of that here on the program today. I think it'll be beneficial for a lot of people. 888-250-2091. Tom, welcome to the program. How can I help you today on Compute This?
Thank you, Thor. At my work, we have a desktop and a laptop computers. I think they're named LENOVO.
Okay.
I don't know if you've heard of those. Or
I have.
If you have, give me the rundown on them. I think they're a decent unit. I haven't heard you talk about them, but anyhow, that's all I have.
Oh, yeah. Hey, no problem, Tom. Thank you for the call. I appreciate it. So, Lenovo computers. If you're looking for the least expensive computer that you can purchase that has the same capabilities as a more expensive computer, Lenovo is probably the least expensive option that you can go with that can do the most. Okay, so from a purely what can it do and what does it cost perspective, Lenovo, hands down, is a value. However, so is Huawei. Huawei is the Chinese brand of computers that are incredibly inexpensive and just as powerful as some of the most powerful laptops and desktops you can buy. So what do they have in common? Well, they're both made in China, exclusively in China. So the Lenovo used to be an IBM thing, which used to be an American company. IBM got out of the personal computer business, and then they spun off Lenovo, and a Chinese company bought it, and now they're made in China. So from a repair perspective now, from a shop perspective, we see a lot of Lenovos come in because they're so inexpensive and they're so powerful. It's really tempting. And a lot of people don't know that they're literally made in China, and all the software that runs on them is Chinese-made software. A lot of people don't realize that. So like the Lenovo Assistant and the Battery Manager and all the bloatware that gets pre-installed with a Lenovo, all the BIOS programming that's on the chips inside, everything is made in China. So one of the things that we have to deal with when those come in for repair, for example, is there's no US Depot for parts. So let's say you break your hinge in your Lenovo Flip or your Flex. It's one of the ones that has the lid that wraps all the way around. Kind of cool. It's a really neat design. But if you break a hinge on it, we have to order the hinge from China. It'll come in a speed pack, which ironically takes 30 days. I'd hate to see the slow pack. But the speed pack, it takes 30 days for us to get that shipment. It's got to go through customs. You have to pay the 25% import tax on it, so the parts cost 25% more. So you're saving a boatload of money, no pun intended, up front when you buy the computer. But if anything goes wrong with it, that's when things get really difficult for you. Best Buy is currently the only authorized Lenovo service center in the United States that I'm aware of. We are not Lenovo authorized. We're not authorized with a lot of different companies for very specific reasons. Once we tried to get an HP authorization, and they said, well, if you're going to sell your own modular computers, you can't be HP certified. So and that literally turned us off on all the certifications for all the different brands because they all have restrictions they put on you. This is one of the reasons why when you take your computer into the Geek Squad, they have really great technicians there. Some of those guys are really smart. They're just not allowed to do anything. They know exactly what to do. They could do it and probably fix your computer in 5 minutes. They're not allowed to do it. They have to send the computer back to the manufacturer because that's what the manufacturer dictates, because that makes it the most uncomfortable for you, which means you probably maybe might buy a new computer instead of repairing the one you've got, and then they sell a new machine. And they're there to sell new computers, whereas Schrock is here to provide service and fix computers and find the solution that makes the most sense for you. Sometimes that's upgrading. Sometimes that's replacing your computers. Sometimes it's fixing the computers. And sometimes it's both. Sometimes you'd say, maybe it's time to look at a new computer, but somebody else in your family needs a computer, and this one we can fix it up and they can use it. Like a kid can use it, or a college student could use it, and it would be just fine for that. But for what you're doing with your computer right now as a small business owner, you probably don't want to be using this computer anymore. And so with the Lenovo laptops and desktops and all-in-ones, they are so tempting for small businesses because you can save a ton of money at the implementation. We literally had one of our Schrock business clients who was looking to buy 30 computers for their office, and they were shopping us against Lenovo. And they were going to buy Lenovo all-in-ones, and we were like, let's look at maybe going with a tower instead, or if nothing else, a laptop, because that's all an all-in-one is a laptop with a screen hooked up to it. They're not upgradable. You're going to use them. You're going to throw them away. When they break, we've had, I don't know what goes on in that office, but we've had some of their employees shatter the screens of their all-in-ones. I don't know if they're like throwing baseballs in there or what's happening, team building. I don't know. Nobody caught the screen when they dropped it. So yeah, when you shatter the screen of the all-in-one and we literally can't find a replacement anywhere for the screen, well, you have to throw it away. There's nothing more you can do with it. Unless you want to hook up an external monitor to it and try to use it that way. 888-250-2091. So my bottom line take on Lenovo is they're inexpensive and powerful as long as they work. But when they break, you're going to pay for all that you saved plus a little bit more. 888-250-2091. Going to take a quick break here, guys. When we come back, ChatGPT versus Bing AI. What's the difference and how can you try out the new Bing AI chatbot? We'll tell you coming up next on Compute This.
Drive Advisor is a free program from Schrock Innovations that monitors your hard drive's health and tells you if it's going bad. Download it for free at driveadvisor.com. Schrock Innovations has spent nearly 2 decades working to make your technology life easier, and SchrockInnovations.com is no exception. Now you can order new modular computers and solid-state laptops directly from our website, find innovative new technologies like our modular storage devices, and get free help and tips. Take a look at the special section to find sales on one-of-a-kind items, display models, refurbished units, and our latest special offers. Swing by the Compute This page to watch TV segments and archived radio shows, or even get one-on-one help through the Schrock Desk. As always, we respect your privacy, so we secure our website with the latest encryption technology and only the most secure payment methods. You can pick up your purchases at any of our 3 service centers or have them shipped directly to your door. SchrockInnovations.com makes technology simple. It's what we do. And now Compute This Pro tip number 373. Everyone knows we're supposed to back up our computers and then check those backups periodically to make sure they're working. So why don't most people do it? Lots of people have different ideas about what backing up means. Is it copying files to a flash drive? Is it using a fancy backup program? And how do you know it's working anyway? Windows makes backups easy through free software that's already on your computer. Open your control panels and click Update and Security. Select Backup and choose from all of the available options to get a regular, reliable checkup. You'll need something to back up to, like a Schrock modular storage device or some other backup hard drive. Backups usually run once a week, but you can always change the frequency. The best part is that if your backup ever fails, you'll see a notification in the lower right corner by your clock telling you something's up. Backing up your important data has never been easier, so take a moment to back up your computer today. This pro tip brought to you by Schrock Innovations Computer Company.
Alrighty, folks, welcome back into Compute This. My name is Thor Schrock. I'm the owner of the Schrock Innovations Computer Company. 888-250-2091 is the number to join us on the program today. You can get put in the drawing for that $25 Schrock Innovations gift certificate as well. So, you guys, we've talked a little bit about ChatGPT. We've talked a little bit about, AI, how it's going to take all our jobs and take over the world and everything like that. This is getting way overblown for what these AI models can actually do right now. Yes, they can do really from the perspective of being able to give a computer directions and interact with it using a conversation model instead of coding. So instead of, if you want a computer to do something, you can just ask it questions and it answers you like a human. That is new. That is unique. That's a unique form of interface. This is like, do you remember before we had touchscreens? Before you touched your phone, you pushed buttons on it. Remember that? That's what this is. This is a new way of interacting with a computer that's exciting and gives you all kinds of capabilities and possibilities. But at the end of the day, you still have that human being originating the thought. The computer is not originating the thought or originating the work. And for all of its goodness, all the things it can do, the computer still can't do that. So a lot of people who get freaked out about AI is going to end the world, maybe, but not in my lifetime. Okay. So one of the things that's come out is ChatGPT. It's a language model. It allows you to chat with a computer and ask it questions. And people have gotten excited because, you garbage in, garbage out, whatever it's programmed with, wherever it learned from, that's where its biases lie. So people are like, oh, it's woke. It's biased. It's not good. We don't like it because it's politically biased. All those things are definitely possibilities. So some of the things that Bing AI has done to try to mitigate that is, number one, they made it really, really easy to use. So if you open up Microsoft Edge, you have to use the Edge browser for best results. Open up the Edge browser and then just go to Bing.com, which I know who in the world ever goes to Bing.com, but go to Bing. And when you type in a search, so I did a test here. Let me give you an example. I went to Bing. I typed in search for Schrock. And then it gave me the search results. And there's a little icon up at the top you can click on for chat. So I clicked on chat instead of search. And so it says searching for Schrock, generating answers for you. I found a few results for Schrock. Could you please clarify what you're looking for? Are you looking for a person or a company? And I thought, okay, that's pretty slick. That's a good differentiation. And so I responded, person. So it modified my chat search to Schrock person, which is not exactly how I would search for it, but okay. Generating answers for you. Then it says, Schrock is a German surname. There are several people with this surname who have made notable contributions. For example, all these things here, blah, 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 blah. None of them are in Nebraska. They're all like, international Schrock things. And so I said, what about in Nebraska? And so it responded, generating Schrock, Nebraska. I'm like, okay, Schrock, Nebraska. I found several results for Schrock, Nebraska, the Schrock Innovations Computer Company, Schrock Interactive, the Schrock Cabinet Company. I didn't know they had a Nebraska manufacturing facility, but okay. And so then I responded, none of those are people. Remember the very first question? And this is the thing ChatGPT is really good about doing, taking information from the beginning of the conversation and applying it to decisions that are made later. But if you'll notice in the chat search here, it was literally just creating what it thought was the best search phrase to query its search engine. This is a chat overlay on top of the wonderfully accurate, as we all know, Bing search engine. Nobody uses Bing. Nobody that wants to find anything uses Bing. And so, yeah, after I said Schrock, Nebraska, and it found all these things, and I said, none of these are people, the chatbot responded like this. And imagine you're at a grocery store, and you ask the checker a question, and they just tell you this. I'm sorry, but I prefer not to continue this conversation. I'm still learning, so I appreciate your understanding and patience. Prayer hands. And I'm like, what? You hung up? I got hung up on by a chatbot because I just pointed out that the answer it gave me was not people. I asked for people. It gave me companies. I said, none of those are people. And it said, I'm not talking to you. Click. So is it going to take over the world? You guys, I don't think we're there. I don't think it's there. Not yet. Is it going to get better and better and better? When you see headlines like Boston Dynamics dog gets ChatGPT and you think, oh, we're going full Terminator now. It's like that dog is going to talk your head off. It'll be like Russell, just sitting there, I love you. And you're like, what? Robot dog? Now the robot dog that I wanted to buy, I don't want to buy it unless I can put ChatGPT in it. Do you see what you did there? You just lost yourself a sale because you can't put ChatGPT in a robot dog that I can buy right now. Somebody loaded ChatGPT into a Furby. Yeah, I know, right? So it's like ChatGPT and the Furby. Now you really can be afraid of a Furby legitimately. So, I mean, guys, there's nothing to be afraid of with this stuff. This is a tool. This is a tool to be used. This is a tool that Alfonso at Schrock Business uses to improve his code. So he'll write a piece of code and it doesn't work for some reason. Every coder goes through this. You got to, troubleshoot the code, look for bugs. You missed a period or a colon or a semicolon somewhere, and you just don't know where because you were writing the code and your brain was into that and you just missed some syntax somewhere. Well, you take the code, you stick it into ChatGPT, and it will point out what you did wrong. You don't have to spend all that time searching your code for a single character mistake. ChatGPT will do it for you. Or better yet, ChatGPT, if you give it a function that you want to write in a particular language, and it will give you the function. It'll write the function for you. Now, that function isn't something you can copy and paste out of ChatGPT into a program and magically make it work. You still have to modify it and make it work for your application. But you get the idea. It's saving people like Alfonso a ton of time, making people truly more productive, which is where true wage gains, not just inflation wage gains, true wage gains in jobs come from increases in productivity. And ChatGPT and the entire GPT style AI is going to be a massive increase for productivity. 888-250-2091. Got to take our bottom of the hour break here, guys. When we come back, the safest way to use public Wi-Fi. We're going to tell you when you're traveling how to keep your technology safe, coming up next on Compute This.
Schrock Innovations Data Recovery Lab saves the data the other guys can't. The next time your hard drive, camera card, or flash drive fails, let Schrock get your data back. Some people like desktops for their power and upgradability, but nothing rivals a laptop for computing on the go. But why should you have to sacrifice performance for portability? The innovators at Schrock want our customers to have it all, so we created a new kind of laptop, the solid-state laptop from Schrock Innovations. Solid-state laptops are built using the same frame and mainboards as regular laptops, but we've removed half of the moving parts while more than doubling the computer's speed. The result? Laptops that boot to Windows in 6 seconds or less, respond instantly to your commands, and can survive drops that put most laptops into the Data Recovery Lab. Starting at only $499, solid-state laptops give you speed, reliability, durability, and performance for the same price most people pay for a cheap disposable laptop. The next time you're looking for a laptop, check out the solid-state laptops at SchrockInnovations.com or visit any of our service centers. Simple, solid, fast technology is what we do at Schrock. Compute This Pro Tip 299. There are enough mothballed computers in U.S. homes to give one to every man, woman, and child in the country. Many of these computers find their way into landfills where they can leak cadmium, lithium, and other nasty chemicals into the groundwater. Schrock Innovations is very proud of the fact that we recycle more e-waste every year than we create. You can drop off any old or broken computer equipment to our service centers at any time, free of cost. We only charge $15 just for monitors because they are especially difficult to process. No appointment is required, and we accept all computer-related equipment like printers, keyboards, speakers, and accessories. Additionally, the rare earth elements in computers can be recycled right here in the U.S. to reduce our reliance on supplies from foreign countries. Take a moment, drop off your old computer equipment today, and Schrock will make sure it's properly recycled and put to good use right here in the U.S. This pro tip brought to you by Schrock Innovations Computer Company.
Alrighty, guys. See, quick breaks. We like that here. Welcome back into Compute This. My name is Thor Schrock. I'm the owner of the Schrock Innovations Computer Company. 888-250-2091. Ask a question, make a comment, be a part of the program, and we'll put you in the drawing for a $25 Schrock Innovations gift certificate that we'll draw live here at the end of the show. All you have to do is give us a call and be a part of the show. 888-250-2091. All right, so what have we done so far on the show today? We talked about Lenovo laptops. Should you get a Lenovo? Should you not? We talked about ChatGPT and Bing AI and some of the differences between them. And I gave you an example of Bing being having a sissy fit. A hissy fit. A sissy fit? That's what my sister used to do. This is a hissy fit and hung up on me here live on the radio. And literally, I can't talk to it. Like if I try to put my cursor in the box to type something else, it's disallowing it. It says, maybe it's time to move on to a new topic. Like, ouch. That's like my name. You want to move on to a new topic? I mean, I'm signed into my Schrock account. It should be, it's an overlay for the Bing search engine. So you get the same high quality, inaccurate information you normally get from Bing, but you couple that with a chatbot to make it really interesting and cool. And that's what Google is freaking out about, because the problem here is, if that chatbot, number one, a lot of people are going to use Bing, maybe for the first time because they want to try out the chatbot. And when you have that many people trying out, and when you open up Bing, it says, do you want this to be your default search? And I know a lot of you out there, you don't read the prompts. You don't read the boxes. You're thinking, I want to try the AI. So you say yes. And all of a sudden your search has changed from maybe it was Google. Now it's Bing. And Google is worried about that. They're worried about losing that traffic, because if they lose the traffic and the eyeballs, they can't serve the ads, and that's where they make all their money. 888-250-2091. One of the things that's been kind of crazy this last couple of weeks has been the Data Recovery Lab in the Omaha Service Center. I've been working quite a bit in there. And I came in the other day. Normally, it's not unusual for me to come in and see 1 or 2 jobs on the counter that are new that come in. And, we've got 4 imagers, so getting 1 or 2 new jobs a week is usually not a big deal. We can handle that pretty easily. when we get like 7 jobs a day coming in, it gets a little crazy. And so this last week I spent probably like a part-time job, literally like 25, 30 hours this week, working solely in the data recovery lab, making sure that everybody got the information back that they needed. One of the things I want to emphasize, guys, is please do make sure you have a backup. I know a lot of you, especially photographers or creative people, a lot of you have Macs. And when you use an iMac or a Mac, sometimes the storage is limited inside the computer and you run out. And as a result, you'll hook up like an external hard drive or something to augment your storage, to add more storage to it, especially popular for photographers and video editors. Those external hard drives, guys, it doesn't matter what brand you buy. There isn't a right or wrong brand. It doesn't matter if you buy a solid state or a mechanical drive. They fail for different reasons when they fail, but they all fail. They are all incredibly fragile and they all fail. And when they do fail, there are tears, there is gnashing of teeth, and there is an appearance in the data recovery lab. We love your business and I really love your money, but I try to make sure that people who come into my data recovery lab are not repeat business. They don't come back a second time. We try to set you up with backups and things. Make sure if you're in that situation, number one, where you have an iMac and you've run out of space, if it's one of the older iMacs, like not one of the new ones where everything is chip on board and it's a laptop and a screen basically, we can increase the storage in a lot of the older ones. We can make it massively larger in some cases. Number two, if you have one of the newer ones, we've set up home servers for customers before, so you can offload your completed projects onto the home server. It's freeing up your hard drive for use for current projects. Because the big thing, there's 2 big things here. Number one, you don't want to lose data, but number 2, you don't want your main hard drive inside of especially one of the new iMacs to crash. That's just a solid state hard drive soldered to a motherboard, which means it's not replaceable. Which means if it fails, you have to buy a new iMac. Solid-state hard drives tend to fail when they become 80% or more full. So if you have more than 80% used space on your hard drive, it's time to upgrade your hard drive. And this is true whether you're in a PC or a Mac. And so these are the things we're seeing in our data recovery lab now. We're seeing people who have put unlimited faith in solid-state drives being the end-all, be-all, most secure place to put data. They definitely are much more fault-tolerant than a rotating disk hard drive, but they are not perfect. They do also fail, and they end up in my data recovery lab. Some of the times I can recover them, some of the times we can't. And it's just like a regular hard drive, basically. So please make sure you do have a backup for your hard drive. 888 I'm going to give you my phone number, 888-250-2091. No, just give me a call. Feel free. It's fine. And then we'll get you on the radio here talking about your problems or questions on Compute This. Now, when you're out traveling, and you're in the position of having to use a public Wi-Fi, what is the safest way to do that? Now, this could be on your phone. This could be on your tablet, your iPad, your computer, your laptop, whatever computer you're taking, whatever computing device you're taking out with you, whether you're on the airplane, at the airport, at a coffee shop, at a hotel. A lot of us are going to travel this summer. So how do you keep your technology safe when you're on a public Wi-Fi system? We're going to get to that in just a moment, but first, let's go into those phones. Bonnie, welcome to the program. How can I help you today on Compute This?
Yes, I've got a couple things. The main one is you've mentioned having a program where a person can lease a computer. How close are you to getting that?
Well, we have it out. It's been out for a little while. It's called Freedom Modular. We didn't talk about it a lot last month because we had the Ultimate Upgrade sale last month, and you can't do sale computers under the Freedom Modular program. So it would have been kind of confusing to talk about the 2 things at the same time. But what Freedom Modular does is it allows you to purchase a computer. It's almost like it's like a cross between leasing and renting. So you don't ever get ownership in the computers. You're basically renting the computer. But if things break, if things go wrong, it's our computer, and you're going to pay for it if it doesn't work. So of course we're going to fix it. And then you have a set term. This is usually about 36 months, so about 3 years. Typical average Schrock modular computer use is between 4 and 6. So at the end of 3 years, you have a choice. You can just keep using the same computer you've been using, no harm, no foul, or you can choose to get a brand new one, and you don't have to pay anything extra. You just basically, your monthly payment is adjusted based on whatever you purchase, and you just keep going. And then if you choose to exit, you get your deposit back. There's a $100 deposit to get into the program. You get your deposit back, and you can spend that on anything you want. So it works out pretty well actually over at Freedom Modular. So at this point, when we originally opened Freedom Modular, we opened it up to existing Schrock customers who we already had a relationship with, and part of the reason for that was because we're not Blue Hippo. I don't know if you remember Blue Hippo. Blue Hippo was like, they ran TV commercials in the early 2000s, and they said, I can buy a computer for $18 a month. Isn't this amazing? And they went bankrupt because nobody ever paid them. And we feel like with our existing customers, the people that we know and the people who know us, we have a pretty good expectation that you guys are gonna honor the agreement. Now, when we open it up to the general public, that might not be the case. We're dealing with a lot of new people we don't know, things like that. And we don't want to get into credit checks, doing all that stuff. We're not the mart. We're not going to send the Goomba to your house to come get you the money if you don't pay for your couch.
Yeah.
We're not the mart. We don't want to do that.
Okay. How much a month is this then?
Usually, it starts around $25 a month. Usually, it depends on what you get. So you can get any of our 6 normal computers. You can modify them and change them. So if you get a Venture, you're going to pay a little bit more than if you get a Resolute. It's if you get the bottom one, you're going to pay less. If you get the highest one, you're going to pay a little more. But I think the highest monthly price that I've seen for a super tricked out Venture was about $56 a month. And like I said, it's over a 3-year period. And at the end of that, you can turn the computer in, or you can just keep going with it. You just keep paying and keep using the computer.
Another question.
Yeah.
I'm 75 years old, a lot of serious health problems. If I die, then can my family turn it in?
Yes, we did put. There's a contract. We had We had to actually hire lawyers to write this one. Normally, we just write our own agreements, but the lawyers were like, "Yeah, Thor, this is pretty bad." So, we'll let us help you here, and send you a fat bill. So they helped us out with it. And if there is a situation where a person passes, at that point, the computer, the contract is null and void, and the computer reverts to Schrock's ownership. Obviously, the last thing we're going to do is bother your family to get a computer back, and then there's concerns like the data on the hard drive. You may have pictures and stuff on there that we need to get transferred off onto something else so that the family can keep them. So it's one of those things where you can expect the same level of service. Even after you pass, you can expect the same level of service for Schrock Innovations that you can expect while you're up and kicking.
That's something I'm very interested in. Probably in a couple of months, I'll probably call and see about if I can get into that program.
Well, and thank you for bringing it up, Bonnie. You're reminding me that that's something I haven't talked about in quite a while. Maybe I should spend some time next week on the program on that. Thank you for your call. I appreciate you joining us on the program here today. 888-250-2091. Robert, welcome to the show. How can I help you on Compute This today?
Good morning.
Morning.
This concerns power supplies.
Okay.
Okay, if you're at a home and you have an AC outlet, your power has sine waves. If you're out in your Ford truck using the inverter, you're using square waves. Do the square waves affect the reliability of the computer that you got plugged in or wear it out faster?
Great question. So I'm going to break this down Barney style for people listening. The power in your house is different than the power you get from an inverter unless you have a very special inverter that's designed specifically to emulate regular power in your house. They both work. They both get the job done. But for example, there's absolutely no point to putting a surge protector on a device that's plugged into an inverter. And I won't get into the details about that. The short answer is neither one will harm your computer. They won't harm your computer. You need a surge protector when you're on a residential, like a home AC. But when you're out and traveling, you don't. And the power is perfectly safe to use on your electronic devices.
Okay. Hey, thanks. I thought maybe the square waves would wear out the equipment or something.
Well, and it's up for debate. There are some people who believe that using inverter power is a little bit harder on the equipment, but I mean that's like saying it. Like I remember when my dad when I was learning to drive, and he'd be like, "Those Jackrabbit starts are hard on the engine," that kind of stuff. So yes,
okay.
It's probably If you're living in a mobile home, I mean, you don't have much of a choice, right? If you're driving from place to place, that's the power you're going to use. It's not like it's going to take years of life off your computer, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Okay, hey, thanks for your good show. Thanks.
All right. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Robert. Appreciate you joining us on the program here. 888-250-2091. We're going to take our final break here so we can go a little bit longer in the next segment, guys, because I want to tell you the safest ways to use that the Wi-Fi in public places. There are some specific things that you can do with your technology to keep yourself safe. And also, I want to share with you an email that I received from a customer about whether or not it was time to move on and maybe go to Windows 11, and some of the things that weren't working on her computer because she wasn't on Windows 11. We're going to tell you about that coming up next on Compute This.
Schrock Innovations repair technicians also make house calls. Make an appointment and let us bring our award-winning computer support right to your home or business. In 1798, Eli Whitney's Connecticut Musket Factory was the first business in North America to use replaceable parts in a firearm. Before Eli's factory, if your musket broke, you had to send it away to an expert gunsmith for repairs, or just toss it and buy a new musket. Technology manufacturing has come a long way since the 18th century, but you wouldn't know it by looking at today's big box store computers. Dell, HP, Sony, and other manufacturers continue to take away your freedom to upgrade and repair your computer by eliminating expansion and repair options. Some desktops are even powered by a tiny laptop adapter. Schrock Innovations believes in Eli Whitney's idea of interchangeable and replaceable components, and that's why our custom-built modular computers last longer and cost less to repair than computers you see at big box stores. Ask your friends and family how often they replace their box store computers, and they'll probably tell you every couple of years. And what do they do with the old machines? They just get thrown out like broken muskets. Imagine a place where your computer's problems can be fixed quickly and inexpensively. Imagine keeping your computer for 6 years or more. You are imagining the kind of computers we build every day at Schrock Innovations. Our modular systems last longer, perform faster, and cost less over the long term than anything you can buy at a big box store. While the talented technicians at Schrock Innovations can't make you a musket even if they tried, our commitment to the freedom offered by modular computers is the modern-day extension of Eli's innovative musket factory. We think Eli Whitney would be proud, and you can take pride in owning a small piece of American innovation, the modular computer from Schrock Innovations. Compute This Pro Tip 843. Of all computer failures, the scariest and most expensive is the hard drive. But there are some steps you can take to save money and save your data before it's too late. Detecting failures early is important, so install a free utility like Drive Advisor from driveadvisor.com to monitor your hard drive's health and receive warnings when there's a problem. But most of all, hard drive failures happen slowly, so early detection is key to reducing the repair bill. Second, if your hard drive makes any unusual noises, immediately turn off your computer and do not turn it on again. These issues are physical problems, and the more you try to use it, the worse the damage becomes. Remember that most computer repair shops do not have the specialized equipment needed to recover data from a failed drive. Never open your drive or allow anyone else to do so. Opened drives always cost more to recover. Schrock does not charge for data recovery evaluations and quotes, so let the local pros look at your drive before you make any recovery decisions. This pro tip brought to you by Schrock Innovations Computer Company.
Alrighty, guys. Oh, if you could only hear the stuff we talk about during the breaks here. It's pretty impressive stuff. Welcome in. Final segment of Compute This, but the show doesn't end here. You can tune in at facebook.com/Schrock Innovations after the conclusion of this program, and we'll bring you the Aftershock. It's kind of it's the leftovers. It's the next day kind of show. Everything we didn't get to, there's stuff I didn't get to here on the program. I'm going to tell you a little bit of behind the scenes stuff. We wrapped up the Ultimate Upgrade sale last week, so we're working through we had just a deluge of orders, so it's kind of some fun stuff there. Also, I was going to share a story with you during the Aftershock about Schrock Business getting its first real stress test this week. It was intense, and it was kind of cool to see how everything that we put together is working the way we want it to work. It's truly a unique and different model for business customers. It saves them a ton of money while still delivering the same business level of services they need. And it's completely unique to Schrock Innovations. So we're going to talk about that during the Aftershock. And of course, your questions, your calls, your concerns, you can bring up anything you want during the Aftershock and I will address it. 888-250-2091. So when you're out traveling this summer, what are the 5 things that you can do to safely use a public Wi-Fi? Number 1, make sure the network you're joining is legitimate. How do you do that? Well, this is where the common sense factor comes in, guys. If you're, at an RV park and you try to get on the Wi-Fi, and you have a choice between like the beautiful Plains RV Park, public Wi-Fi, or another one called Bob's Public Wi-Fi. You probably should not join Bob's Public Wi-Fi. Reasonable, right? If you're at a coffee shop and you have one that's like, Starbucks Wi-Fi and one that's like Skynet, you probably shouldn't join Skynet, okay? Or, anything that is not clearly defined as what you're looking for. Don't just try to join every public network to find something that has internet. We see this a lot, especially with young kids. My daughter's special needs, she'll do this all the time. Like she'll be in the car, and now she's learned what my mobile hotspot name is, so she can tap on the right one. Because otherwise, as we drive past people, she'll be trying to join their hotspots, with her iPad, trying to get on to watch her Magic Winks show, and it's just, it's crazy. Well, people do that too. Regular people do that too. They'll jump on any public Wi-Fi without any concern that when you join a Wi-Fi, all the information that you're sending is passing through somebody else's computer. So they can see what you're sending in many cases. Number 2, avoid entering or accessing sensitive information. So again, if you're on a public Wi-Fi, is that the time to log into your Ameritrade account and commence the trading of stonks and bonds? You're on vacation. Give it a rest, okay? So it's one of those things where, again, when you're on somebody else's network, there is always the possibility that things can get intercepted. Now, there is encryption on most modern browsers that helps make that difficult, so that when you're sending passwords and stuff, they're not sending them in the clear anymore, which used to be the case years ago. Now, not so much, but discretion is the better part of valor here. So don't, when you're on a public network, try to avoid doing things that would be sensitive, that are things that you wouldn't want to do on somebody else's computer at their house. Number 3, when you stop using a public network, forget it. This is something nobody does. So everybody knows how to join a network, but do you know that you can also, when you're done, where you're still within range of the network, you can disconnect from the network and you can tap forget. And it removes the network from your device, so that when your device comes back to that area again, or you drive past the hotel or whatever, it doesn't try to jump back on that public Wi-Fi. Just kind of a little housekeeping thing. We've talked about VPNs in the past, and that's number 4 on the list. A VPN allows all the information that you send from your device to the internet to be completely encrypted, regardless of if the browser is encrypting it or if the website's encrypting it. That means if you have a man in the middle, like somebody on the network watching what you're sending, it's all gobbledygook. It's all encrypted. And so it makes it much more difficult for a bad guy to gain access to the information. So if you are going to do things, sensitive things, on a public Wi-Fi, use a VPN to help protect your data integrity. It'll go a long ways. And number 5, use your phone's hotspot instead of the public Wi-Fi. A lot of people don't realize this, but many phone plans now, and all smartphones supports hotspots, but many phone plans give it for free now as part of the plan. Now you're limited in how much you can use. If you use too much, they don't cut it off. They just throttle the speed way down to like dial-up speed, and then it becomes impossible to use for most things. But your phone's hotspot gives you a portable way to create your own wireless network, so you don't have to rely on somebody else's. So there's 5 tips to help keep your technology safe as you travel throughout the summer this year. 888-250-2091. Rick, welcome to the show. How can I help you on Compute This?
Hey, good morning.
Morning.
So I just got a bill from, actually PayPal automatically paid a bill to you, but I can't tell for what it's for.
What was the amount?
And I just renewed $29.99.
Gotcha. That's Secure Updater or a Schrock Desk subscription, one or the other. Those are the only 2 things that we have for $30. So your Secure Updater is a companion product that goes with the Sophos antivirus that keeps all of your third-party software up to date. I know they were doing a lot of these renewals yesterday, so if you saw it come through your PayPal yesterday, that's what it was.
Okay, that's cool. It'd be nice if it said something on here to give me a clue.
And that's one of the things. Alfonso is currently on vacation, and so right now when you do an automatic subscription renewal, we send you an email receipt and everything else when the system does it. But the Secure Updater ones, we process those manually in some cases. And when you do a manual transaction, the system assumes that you were in the service center and you were handed a printed receipt, so it doesn't email you a copy. And so this is one of the things that we're going to be working on internally, so that you'll get an email receipt, not only an email receipt when it happens, but an email heads up a few days before it happens. We're working on tweaking our systems a little bit to make it a little, to improve the communication a little bit.
Cool, because I live in Scottsbluff, Nebraska, so I don't come to the service center.
Yeah, it's hard to give you a paper receipt. Well, we could mail you one, but I think you'd probably just have it. We can totally email you one manually. That's not a problem. It's just the system doesn't automatically send them when we do a manual transaction in the service center.
Okay, cool.
All right, thanks for the call, Rick. I appreciate it. And yeah, so there's only two things at Schrock that are $30. There's that and the Schrock Desk, which is the unlimited monthly support. Man, I don't know what's in the water though. Our Schrock Desk subscribers, they are saving so much money right now. I had a person come in, they had a $400 repair bill, literally got cut in half because they were a Schrock Desk subscriber. It saved the entire year plus of subscription in one shot. I mean, it was like, and they get unlimited support for the entire year. All labor services half off. It's pretty impressive stuff. So if you're not a member of the Schrock Desk, I would encourage you to take a look at that. You can check it out at SchrockInnovations.com, or just give us a call in the service centers and we're happy to hook you up there. All right. So this is an email that I received from an actual customer. I received this email yesterday, and I won't go into names and all that. But it says, "Hello again. Let me tell you about my computer. Keep in mind, I'm not one of those people to jump on the next big thing with upgrading. No reason in my little world to do so. I'm also a tad over 70, retired from the Department of Revenue." Okay. Not a dumb woman, right? So here we go. "My roommate had this computer before I inherited it. It was never upgraded, cleaned, or defragged, or whatever. It has never had any maintenance whatsoever." Okay, that's going to become important later. "In the beginning, many years ago, I could get Facebook and Messenger and send emails with attachments and go to websites and all the things. As time has gone on, I couldn't get on Messenger. I just got blurry images. Then I couldn't get on Facebook, couldn't open it, couldn't use an emoji or reply to any post. I thought I was in Facebook jail. I would be off for a couple weeks, I'd come back, and then I would leave, and I could look at posts from other people, but I couldn't look up anyone or comment specifically. Can't send any pictures to anybody or copy something from a page. Can't send it or go to many websites anymore. It'll tell me that I'm out of time or that the site isn't there, that I'm out of time." And then she doesn't mean like out of time like time's up. She means out of time like she's a woman out of time, like she is in a different point on the timeline, okay? That's literally what the message is saying. "Can't send any pictures, can't do anything. It also tells me that I'm offline or unplugged when I'm not, and I have to shut it down and wait. I have the Windows XP. I have a printer that doesn't work. So I'm concerned I'm going to lose everything if I transfer to a new computer." So here's the thing. If you are also in the same situation as this woman, and you're running something like Windows XP or even Windows 7 or Windows 8, you are no longer getting any security updates. So your computer is no longer trusted to be on the internet. All the software that's made for computers, browsers, Facebook, Twitter, everything that Schrock makes, we don't test any of it on Windows XP or Windows 7 anymore because it's dead. I mean, no one should be using those operating systems anymore. And that's why all your stuff doesn't work. That's why you can't comment. That's why you didn't do anything wrong. It's just that unfortunately your computer is out of time. You know, you're not out of time, it's your computer. And that's why you're getting time errors, because the secure socket layer doesn't work anymore because they changed it and the technology is different. So unfortunately, we do have to get you into a new computer, but we can transfer everything for you, and we can get you 90 days of the Schrock Desk for free to make sure that the transition is smooth for you. Bonnie, congratulations. You're the winner of the $25 Schrock Innovations gift certificate. Stay tuned for the After Schrock, facebook.com/Schrock Innovations, and we'll see you next week for another edition of Compute This.
From the Amish Furniture of Nebraska studio, your home for made in the USA furniture. This is News Radio 1110 KFAB Omaha, an iHeart radio station.